Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Daily Thread. Actually recorded an episode yesterday, but I realized I hit something on my little mixer over here, and the sound came out really not good. Hopefully, today's a little bit better. Hopefully,
So far, it sounds good. So far,
so far,
you're
so
18
good.
seconds in, and so far, all systems go. It's like what that. It's like the rocket that what's his name? Elon Musk fired up a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
It exploded, but it was a big success. You know why it was a big success?
Ela, speaking,
It was a
yeah.
big success because it
Why is
didn't
that?
explode after 4 minutes instead of after 2 minutes.
Listen, it's a big musser right there. No,
Remember, Israel
sometimes,
was trying to land the spaceship a few years ago on the moon, but it crashed.
yeah.
When it was trying to land, it crashed. I don't know if you remember that. They lost.
How long
Three,
ago?
maybe 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, because time flies. The spaceship, there were even Bibi Netanyahu was maybe it was longer because he was prime minister. He was in the space center in
Yeah,
Israel, and the aircraft was making a landing on the moon, and they lost contact with the aircraft, and it
really.
crashed and it went black. But he declared a victory. You know what he said? There's an
What do you say?
Israeli flag on the moon.
Hey,
So
listen,
listen,
ain't
you
that
could
right?
you could turn anything these days. You could turn the most worst extreme abysmal failure. You could turn into a success.
100%. So it's so funny. We have a few stories that I want to get to today, some of which we discussed yesterday, but didn't really end up making it to the
Okay.
public. But first, I want to start off with something that we didn't really speak about yesterday, which is Elon Musk.
Mm-hmm.
He had an interview and he was asked about his tweet saying George Soros reminds him of Magneto. Who's Magneto, by the way?
I don't know. I guess he might be some kind of a fictional, maybe a comic. You want to Google it? Take a look. I'll wait for you. I
Yeah.
don't.
Who is
I don't know.
Magneto? Okay, Magneto. Magneto is, I think it's from Marvel.
That's comic book.
Um,
I don't bother with that stuff.
he's a character appearing in American comic books published by Marvel, commonly in association with the X-Men. Character is a powerful mutant.
All right.
Basically a bad guy.
Listen,
So let's cut to the tape.
Yeah.
Let's cut to the tape and let's see what Elon had to say.
Elon, you tweeted this thing about George Soros. Well, I'm looking for it because I want to make sure I quote it properly. But I mean, you know what you wrote. But you basically.
I said it reminds me of Magneto. This is like, calm down, people. This is not like made a federal case out of it.
You also you said he wants to erode the very fabric of civilization, and Soros hates humanity. Like when you do something like that, do you?
Yeah, I think that's true. That's my opinion.
Okay, but why share it? Why share it? Especially because, why share it when people who buy Teslas may not agree with you, advertisers on Twitter may not agree with you? Why not just say, hey, I think this? You can tell me. We can talk about it over there. You can tell your friends. But why share it widely?
I mean, this is freedom of speech. I'm allowed to say what I want.
You absolutely are. I don't understand why you do, because you have to know it's got a. It puts you in the middle of the partisan divide in the country. It makes you a lightning rod for criticism. I mean, do you like that? People today saying he's an anti-Semite. I don't think you are.
No, I'm definitely. I'm like a pro-Semite, if anything.
I believe that probably is the case.
Yes.
But why would you even introduce the idea then that would be the case?
I mean, look, we don't want to make this a George Soros interview.
No, God, no. I don't want to at all. But what I'm trying even came up though in the annual meeting. I mean, do your tweets hurt the company? Are there Tesla owners who say, I don't agree with his political position and I know it because he shares so much of it?
Yeah, the video's a little choppy, but something that he responded is Elon Musk said that if I'm going to lose money because of these views, and so be it. I'll say what I want to say, and if the consequence of that is losing money, then I'll lose money. I don't know if that instills a lot of confidence in Tesla's investors.
People that drive Teslas. Do they care who's manufacturing the Tesla? Are they driving a Tesla because of a political philosophy of the person who owns the company? It's ridiculous. When you go to a supermarket, whether it's Stop and Shop or Evergreen or whatever supermarket you happen to go to, are you not going to buy something because you know that the checkout guy or the store manager is a guy that doesn't treat his wife right or doesn't take care of the?
I think.
Are you not going to shop there?
Are you not going to shop there because of that? I think there are examples of stores where things have come out of owners if they didn't behave properly that they lost business because of it.
Are you talking about
100%.
kashrus? You
Well,
talking about? Or are you talking about? You're talking
uh,
about if a guy drives let's say a guy drives a BMW, which was the Bavarian Motor Works, which was a car. A lot of people to this day won't drive German cars because they don't want to patronize Germany that created the Nazis that killed so many Jews.
by the way, what's with that? People,
What's with
we
that?
grew up that we don't drive German cars.
That's
Since
right.
our grandmother was in the
That's right.
Holocaust, we don't drive. But there are a lot of Jews that drive
You
German
know
cars
what? And every
nowadays.
time we see it, to this day, it catches my attention, and I wonder to myself, what's up with that? Now, that's everywhere except in Israel. In Israel, you see a lot of Mercedes Benz because as part of the compensation for murdering so many Jews, Germany has donated or sold to Israel at a very, very low price a lot of cars. That's why.
Is that
No, I'm
true?
making it up right now. Yes, of course it's true. That's why there are so many Mercedes Benz, because it's an outgrowth of the fact that, tragically, unfortunately, Germany is responsible for the murder of millions of Jews at that time of, a large proportion of the Jewish population. And part of the compensation and the relationship between Germany and modern day Israel since 1948 is those cars. So you see, you learn something.
Okay,
You
but
learn
like
something today.
I,
Even though your sister,
I learned something
even
every
though your
day.
sister wrote an article in tomorrow's Five Towns Jewish Times that said you didn't like going to school and that you didn't go to,
I
and you didn't
didn't.
like going to classes. And
I
you didn't
didn't.
like going to classes. That's what she wrote. But you managed to use your creative energy and turned your marketing skills and your social media skills into a success, something that's growing without a limit around the world. So that's what she was trying to say.
Thank God.
So now
Thank
you don't
God. I want
now
to
you don't
get
have to read the
to
story. I just told you what the story is about.
appreciate it. I want to get to the main story I want to talk about today, and this is about Noa Kirel, who took third place in the Eurovision competition. And this is the story tweeted by Shmuel Reichman, which went viral on
Mm-hmm.
Twitter. But this story has been making its rounds like crazy. Okay, so it goes like this: you never know who you're sitting next to. Israel's Noa Kirel, who took third place in last night's Eurovision with her song "Unicorn." On her way back to Israel, she was seated next to Rav Yosef Tzvi Ramon. Rav Ramon couldn't understand why all of the airplane screens said in Hebrew, "Congratulations, Noah, we are proud of you." So he turned to the person sitting next to him and asked, "Do you know who Noah is?" Coincidentally, the person he turned
Yeah.
to was Noa
Yeah.
Kirel. She replied, "It's me." He asked her, "What did you do that everyone is so proud
Yeah.
of?" She replied, "Well, I placed in third place in last night's Eurovision." Rav Ramon congratulated her and then asked her what her name was. She was shocked that he didn't even know who she was, and she told him her name. Her mother, who was sitting next to her, then spoke up and revealed that their grandfather was a rabbi who is also a Sefer Stam. Noa Kirel told Rav Ramon that morning of Eurovision, she recited Birchas HaShachar, and she also kept her cell phone off for the entirety of Shabbos. She then asked Rav Ramon what he does for a living. The Rav replied that he's the rabbi of Gush, and he said, if you have any questions, you're always welcome to come reach out to me. Noah was shocked and noticeably moved by this gesture. She took his number and then the selfie with him and sent it to Rav Ramon. Rav Ramon shared the story and the selfie in his family WhatsApp group, saying it was a shame his daughters weren't there to meet her themselves because it sounds like maybe they were
You have the
fans.
picture?
One of the daughter's friends, the picture I'll put on the screen. One of the daughter's friends heard the story and took a picture of the picture and shared it, and the story went viral. So that is the story about a superstar and a rabbi sitting next to each other on a plane, both having no idea who each other are, and that is just good, feel good, wholesome
Nice,
content right there.
nice Hashgacha Pratis story. You never know who you sit next to on a plane, especially I'm assuming it was an El Al plane that was flying down
I
from
don't know.
wherever
I
they
don't
were going.
actually. It doesn't look like it. You think
Where,
it was?
I don't know. You have
Was?
any clue where Eurovision took place? Where was it? Where did it take place? Where were they flying from? We don't know.
You want to take a
No, I have no
guess?
idea. I don't know. It was somewhere in Europe. I don't know.
Drum roll, please. It took place in Liverpool, in
Liverpool, England.
England.
You know who comes from Liverpool, England?
Who?
The Beatles.
Oh, very exciting.
You ever heard
Very
of the
exciting.
Beatles?
No, is that a bug?
Oh, you heard of the Beatles? Come on, you heard of the
I know,
Beatles?
I'm
And could you name the 4 Beatles that were in the group?
Paul
Paul
McCartney.
is one. Yes.
Ringo
Right, he's
Starr,
the drummer. Yes.
John
Right, very
Lennon.
good, very good. One more.
I don't know the
George
other one.
Harrison.
I think most people don't know George.
I think
Maybe
you know what, your listeners and your viewers all know who the Beatles are. They're not going to admit it. That's the difference.
you really think
Yeah,
so? You
yeah,
really
they all
think
know who the
so?
Beatles are. As a matter of fact, there was a couple of popes ago. There was a Pope John Paul. I always thought that he should be called Pope John Paul George Ringo. I thought that would be more appropriate.
It's a good joke.
Yeah, it was. It was 10 years
Anyways,
ago. It's not such a good joke anymore today.
yes, yes. Before we go ahead to our next topic about Yom Yerushalayim, I want to say that next Tuesday, May 23rd, I will be in Eastern Parkway. I hope you will too. It is going to be a party. It's a Siyam Harambam in Crown Heights. Benny Freeman, Avram Fried, Ellie Marcus, the Yingerlich Choir. It's going to be an amazing event. I can't wait to be there. Men, women, children. I think they said they're expecting 10,000
Wow.
people. They close off the whole street for it. It's a massive, massive party. So I'm gonna be there. Our roots are in Chabad.
Right.
I know that's your old stomping
I've gotten there
grounds.
many Shabbosim for a very, very long time. I can tell you everything about the ins and outs and the nooks and crannies of Eastern Parkway and 770. And what can I tell you? It's an understatement to say those were the good old days.
So you're saying those were the good old days.
Those were the good old days, and you know what? These are the good old days too.
Yeah, I hear you. So let's talk a little bit about Yom Yerushalayim before we wrap up this episode.
Okay, so Friday is the 28th of Iyar. It's a very exciting time. It's an exciting time to live through as I think it was about around my bar mitzvah time, my bar mitzvah year. And what can I tell you other than the fact that there was a 6-day war, a war broke out, and all those years, my parents, your grandparents, they started traveling to Eretz Yisrael every year back in 1963. I remember one year my father was like taking movies, pre-video days. He liked taking movies of his trips, and he came back. Someone took him up to a school building where if you lean out the window and someone held on to you so you don't fall, you were able to catch a glimpse of the Harabayas. Okay, and he was able to film that. And he came home and he was so excited. You have to develop the film. We got to sit down in the dining room, and my father would take out the projector and the screen. Half the time it didn't work. We didn't know what to do. And then he fixed it and he showed the film, and you saw a little bit of glimpse of the Harabayas. But anyway, a few years later, in 1967, in the 6-day war on the 28th day of Iyar, which is this Friday, the Israeli army broke through to the eastern part of Yerushalayim, the old city, which was occupied by Jordan, and unified Jerusalem and became a Jewish capital.
Do you think that in the time of your father growing up, now him having been in Israel many times before they had access?
Just a few years. A few years, not a lot.
Yeah.
He started going in 63.
Oh, 63. So 63 to 67, 4 years where you couldn't. What was the access like to the Kaisel at that point? It was very minimal.
No, it was zero. It was zero.
Wasn't there like a Kaisel Katan?
Yeah, no. This was after 67. Before Israel was founded in 1948, the Jews were allowed to go to what was the Kotel in those days. Not the way they go today, but you have to understand the Arabs built homes. They built houses right up to the Kotel, right? That whole plaza today.
Really?
So
those were Arab homes?
They didn't respect it. They didn't regard it as anything holy. Yeah, and after Israel captured the city in 67, they started the whole rebuilding, which took decades. So no, there was zero access to the Kotel from 1948 to 1967.
So do you think that someone like your father who had experienced not having it and having it, there's a greater appreciation, and maybe our generation could take it for granted that we just get off of a plane, we walk ourselves to the Kaisel, we gaven there, and we walk away. That wasn't always the case.
I don't know. That's a long conversation. I have to tell you that when we go to Israel, you go to Israel. You don't miss an opportunity. If you don't go to daven in the morning there, so you go Friday night for sure, Shabbos for sure, Shabbos afternoon for Mincha Ma'ariv. But I know people that live there, and you ask them when the last time they were by the hotel, by
Yeah.
Cave Rachel, they say, I think I was by the hotel 2 years ago, and I was by Cave Rachel about 6 months ago.
Well, people really, I think you have to go once a month to the Kaisel before, unless you have to. Then you have to tear Kriya. No, is that not observed?
I don't know. I don't know. But two of your cousins from Israel are here. They're staying here in the house for the last few days.
Yeah.
And where do you think they're going? Ask them what they do every day. They went to the 9/11. They went to see 9/11. They wanted to see the.
No
They went to
way.
the memorial. They went to. I took the Staten Island ferry. They wanted to get a ferry ride. You took a ferry ride? You ever take
Really?
a ferry ride from Staten Island?
I've never been
Have
on a
you been to
ferry.
the Have you been
Never.
to the 9/11 museum? No, I don't think so. You
I
have?
have. I mean, one second. You're talking about where the towers used to stand?
Yeah. But there's
Yeah,
a
I've been there.
memorial there now.
I've been there. I've
Okay,
been there.
I passed by, but I don't think I ever went there as a visitor.
Yeah, but what you're talking about is the Kaisel it's the closest we can get to what we had in the base of Migdash. That's a spiritual site. It's where we go to daven. It's not just the 9/11 museum. It's not the Staten Island ferry. There's a big difference.
Well, the point is, I'm telling you that when people don't live someplace, when people are visiting someplace for a short time, their order of priority of places to visit is different than when you're there every single day. And if you ask your cousins, in Israel, when's the last time they were in Yerushalayim? They don't all live in Yerushalayim. They live in Ashdod. They live in Ashkelon.
Right.
They live in Modi'in. Ask last time they were in Yerushalayim. Anyway, but it's Yom Yerushalayim.
Listen, I'm not gonna judge because I don't live there and I don't know what it would be like if I did live there. I don't know. It's like how often am I in? How often do I go to the oil in Queens? How often do you go to the oil in Queens? 25, 30 minutes away from you. I'm not comparing.
I was there.
Not comparing.
I'll tell you when I was there. I was there the day my mother's yard side davening for the Yom Adar in one of the minyanim. So that was the 28th of Adar. So it was about 2 months ago. I was there.
And before that,
I don't know. Not years. It wasn't years. No.
Okay, I don't think anybody who lives in Israel doesn't go to the Kaisel for years.
I go there Tisha B'Av usually. To the Ohel. It's a long day. And go to the cemetery. So my grandparents are there. I have my aunts and uncles are there. So I can't say that it's years. But anyway, I wanted to say that that is coming up to Yom Yerushalayim. A lot of people are going to have the same conversation you had about Yom Ha'atzmaut and Hallel. A lot of people say Hallel on Yom Yerushalayim.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know where you're davening, where you live, but depends where you're going to go.
I think I think maybe we'll have Rabbi Ephraim Goldberg come on this podcast
Tomorrow?
and we'll discuss sort of the halachic perspective and the different types of diverse amount of Jews who observe Yom Yerushalayim, who don't observe, what they do, what they don't do. But anyways, that's our show for today. Main story being about Noa Kirel, incredible story, Hashgacha Pratis. So hope you enjoyed this episode of Daily Thread. Stay tuned for one more coming your way tomorrow, and we can't wait to see you next time.